What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another Tim and Katie live stream. I'm Tim.
I'm Katie.
And tonight we are going to be talking about Genie Plus. Oh, we said that with very different enthusiasm levels, didn't we?
Did I give it away?
Did you give away how Katie feels about Genie Plus? Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. Looks like we have Vanessa. Thank you. The intro. We were literally just saying for like season 2 of the live stream, we're gonna have to switch some things up in that intro.
By we, I mean
they're getting a little outdated now. That was all 2021 stuff for the most part.
There's some 2020 stuff too. I think.
Some 2020 stuff as well. But yeah, I like the intro too. It looks like we have both Chad and Vanessa. Because we have Vanessa.
The power duo.
The power duo. Of course, we have Kaylee. Thank you guys for letting us know the sound is good. You know how paranoid I am. If it's your first live stream, welcome to the one that has good sound because previous ones did not.
It was just one.
And Kim is ninja watching.
Hello, Ninja Kim.
Hello, Ninja Kim. Oh, thank you guys for joining. It's always so great to talk to y'all. Tonight, as we said, we are going to be talking about Genie Plus and Genie and all things My Disney Experience. The idea behind this live stream is that if you have no idea what Genie or Genie Plus is, if you're planning a Disney trip, this could be an effective planning tool for you. You'll have to listen to us yammer for a bit, but eventually we'll get to the point. And that will be how to navigate the My Disney Experience app and how to use Genie and Genie Plus to basically save some time and get on rides. It is pay to play though. So there are some pros and cons. We're going to go through everything. Oh, Marvel Thrills is in. Hey man.
It was good to see you.
We did pop into Hershey Park on Saturday and we did bump into Marvel Thrills. It's good to see you, man. We got on Candemonium shortly after. I am going to bump the light up because I feel like I'm sitting in the dark.
Brighter.
And at last. Okay, anyway. So before we get started, guys, do make sure to give our socials a look. We are The Real Tim and Katie on Instagram. That's where we do a lot of reels and memories and photos, but it's also where we post our stories if we're actually in the park or on the go. So if you want to catch us live or if you want to get a little heads up about what's coming vlog-wise, you can always check that out. Tim and Katie is our Facebook handle, which is the same as our YouTube handle. We don't do as much posting on Facebook, but I'm trying to be better about that. I really am. Because Facebook deserves some love too. So posting more on Facebook, giving Facebook some access to some photos from past trips and all that. It's good fun. And timandkt.net is our website. I think we also own timandkt.com, which redirects. It's a little behind right now, but we do post blog posts and tie everything back together. And it's just good SEO to have websites so there it is. So if you're not following us on Instagram and Facebook, please do so because it will really help to build our portfolio of socials. Anywho's-its, that's us. Today we're going to be talking about, every live is our first live in terms of preparedness. Hey Mandy, welcome to the party. So we're going to be talking tonight about Genie Plus, and as I mentioned, this is a tool that you use at Walt Disney World and Disneyland resorts. Both domestic Disney parks use this. Well, I guess all domestic, because technically there's 4 parks at Disney World and 2 parks at Disneyland.
Resort.
All on the same system. And I think those in the chat who have been to Disneyland Paris, who have been to Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Sea, you might be able to weigh in on this. If no one has, then we'll just spitball. But I'm pretty sure that Disneyland Paris was the one to beta test this platform, right? The system. And if I'm mistaken, then someone please correct me. But I'm pretty sure that Disneyland Paris is currently operating on this same system. Now, Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Sea has toyed with it and has mentioned that they're about to do something similar, but they run a very different Fastpass program to begin with.
They're still doing
paper tickets at the moment. So assume that this platform is only applicable to the domestic parks. So if you're traveling to Disneyland Paris anytime soon, you may have something similar to work with, but we can only speak to our experience in the domestic Disney parks. So having said that, all of this is going to come from your phone. Unfortunately, all the Disney resorts domestically are largely paperless. Disneyland is still handing you paper tickets because they don't have magic bands. But as soon as that magic band is introduced, there's a good chance that paper tickets are going to go away forever. If you've got one now, make sure to save it because it may become a relic very soon.
I've got some.
I have some too. I like the paper tickets. But I don't mind the efficiency of the digital system. It's just that, you know, now more than ever, when you go to Disney, you're kind of attached to your phone. The magic bands help to prevent constantly going back and forth to your phone and navigating. But when you use Genie and Genie Plus, unfortunately, you're still going to be tied to your phone a little bit. So the purpose of this live stream is basically to talk through what everyone's experiences are with Genie and Genie Plus, figure out when to use it, when not to use it, and most importantly, how to use it effectively. And I think we can say, as people who have been to Disney, both Disneyland and Disney World, respectively, a couple of times across both resorts, using Genie and Genie Plus since the launch in late 2021, we do have some experience with it. I think we've made some mistakes.
Some experience, but I would not say we're total experts.
I wouldn't say we're experts on anything. But on Genie and Genie Plus, I think at least we have enough experience to relay what we know. So I will say that the My Disney Experience app, which is for Disney World. Disneyland is just the Disneyland Resort app. They both use the same basic platform. So what we're telling you is transferable to each individual app. But for the Disney World app, both the Android and the Apple links are in the description. If you've not experienced the My Disney Experience app before, brace yourself. It's going to be a lot. We're going to try and make this as simple as possible. So I'm assuming that most people who are tuning into this live at least know what the app is or have seen it or have seen pictures of it. If you've downloaded it, you might be able to navigate it by now. So we're going to be focusing on Genie Plus, but just so you know, the My Disney Experience app looks a lot like this. You create an account. It's going to be the same account as your Disney Plus login. If you have ESPN, Hulu, whatever, all under the Disney banner. So it's one for all and all for one. If you've got any of those accounts, you also have a Disney World account. You just don't know it yet. So when you download this app, you're going to use the same login that you would use on Disney Plus or any other Disney platform, Disneyland included. And it's going to transfer all of that information to your account so that Disney knows what you're working with. From there, you're going to start looking at, presumably, park maps, which is where you go for wait times as well. And you can also take a look at rides, individual rides. Now, what the purpose of Genie and Genie Plus is to navigate the new Lightning Lane system. It's the exact same as Fastpass and Fastpass Plus on the former system. If you went to Disney World prior to the pandemic, you got 2 free Fastpasses, which you could book, I believe, 60 days out. So you may or may not be aware of that previous system. If you haven't been back to Disney since the pandemic, you're going to be familiar with how those Lightning Lanes work and where you go to punch in, but you might not be aware of how Genie Plus differs from the Fastpass system. It's the same basic platform, but guess what? You pay for it now, which sucks. I mean, it does.
There's other things that are different about it.
Yeah,
too.
Absolutely. Well, maybe that's probably as good as any place to start, actually. So let's take a look at the inception of Genie and Genie Plus. When it started. When this first came out, this was before the pandemic, when Genie and Genie Plus were first discussed for the first time, was at D23 2019. It's an annual convention where Disney goes and talks about all the things they have planned for the future. This super hyped up event, and it's not just the parks. They cover like movies that are coming, the MCU content that's coming for Marvel, all kinds of cool stuff. But at D23 2019, one big announcement that was made was Genie and Genie Plus, which at that time I think was just Genie, right?
They
didn't even say Genie
just
Plus.
Disney Genie.
It was designed to be a planning tool. So let me see.
Yep.
Yeah, launching October 19th. So this launched late last year. When they introduced Genie, it was not meant to be a replacement for Fastpass Plus, although I am positive that behind the scenes that had been talked about. It had been considered as a way to increase annual revenue at the parks, was paying for Fastpass, which is eventually the direction they went. But when Genie was initially talked about, it was just going to be a planning tool. The objective, as it was announced and pitched to us as audience members, we weren't there, but everyone could see online after the fact, and we were among the online audience, that Genie was going to help us organize our day, right? It was going to tell you what lines were shortest, where you could go, how to navigate the parks, where you could get popcorn if you were feeling popcorn. You were supposed to be able to punch in an itinerary, and then it was going to navigate you to where you needed to go and organize your day for you. That piece of the platform, which is the unpaid piece, that's just Genie flat. That's no Genie Plus. Disastrous, in my opinion. Some people really like it. We're not among those people. We use, and we've discussed this before on other live streams talking about theme parks and specifically the Disney parks. We use the Touring Plans app. We find that to be really reliable. It crowdsources real-time data on what lines are shortest and how to navigate the parks and what lines are going to be shorter at what time, so you can kind of build your own itinerary around, okay, I know I need to be there at this time. I can go hit that, and that, and then come back, and that should be good. That's what Genie is supposed to do. It doesn't do it well. And the reason it doesn't do it well is because it's really designed to benefit Disney more than it's designed to benefit you. And I don't fault Disney for that. I really don't, because Disney, well, I don't, because Disney is a corporation like any other corporation, and their end game is to make sure that the park doesn't get overcrowded in one area, that guests aren't constantly complaining, that guest services isn't getting overwhelmed by people who are having a hard time getting into the lines they want to get into. So I do see both sides of it. The problem is that the way Genie actually works is that you get sent, if you punch in, hey, I want to do Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. All right, cool. Everyone else does too. Unfortunately, that line is going to be 2 hours long for the next 3.5 hours.
Go to Tom Sawyer Island.
Instead, it directs you to something you have no interest in. Like, hey, Tom Sawyer Island has nobody on it. You sure you don't want to go to Tom Sawyer Island?
Then go watch a parade.
Right. You're like, no, Genie, I really want to do Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And it's like, okay, Country Bears, maybe. And you're like, no, Genie, I want to do Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, until finally you hit a wall and it's like, there's nothing to do right now. Please chill out. Enjoy some shots.
Go buy a snack.
So it doesn't work perfectly for you, for the end user. For Disney, I think it works about as well as it could as a free platform. They're doing something to help you manage your stress and your time, but it doesn't.
It is not managing my stress.
Well, it depends what you want out of your Disney day. Like if you're there just to chill, and other YouTubers have done this as well. They take Genie into the parks as a demo. A lot of them are local. So they're going back to Disney all the time. Doesn't matter if they get on Big Thunder Mountain today, they could get on it tomorrow or the next day or the next day. They're just there to experience the Disney day. And a lot of them have decent days doing that. Just plugging away at the Genie itinerary, you get to ride 2 or 3 of the rides you punched in as must-views, and the rest of the day you get navigated to areas with low crowds, you get to shop, you get to see sights, you get to see parades. It's not the worst way to spend the day. The problem is if you're there for a once-in-a-lifetime trip, if you're a family of 5 or 6 that may never go back again because it's really expensive to take a large family to Disney. I know firsthand, like we've taken my family to Disney. It is expensive. I'm not saying it's not. But if you really want to maximize your time at Disney with a group that size, the Genie is not going to help you. The Genie Plus will. Which is why, unfortunately, I really do think that if you're only going once, or if you're only going once in a long time, you do kind of need to go in on Genie Plus. That's if you're big on rides too. If you're just there to soak up the ambience, see what you can see and do what you can do. Maybe not everyone in the party wants to get on every single big ride. Maybe they don't need Genie Plus, but the other 3 or 4 that are there, maybe they do. If you're big on rides, if you're big on shows, and you want to do as much as possible in one day, you gotta pay for Genie Plus. So let's take a look at specifically what Genie Plus does that Genie doesn't. It's pay to play. I believe at Disney World, it's $15 per person flat rate, and it has not changed from 2021 to 2022. That is not to say it never could. We don't know how this stream is going to age because they're making adjustments all the time. And with inflation, Disney's pricing goes up every year on almost everything. So I wouldn't count on it staying $15 forever. But as of now, in Disney World, $15 a head. Disneyland, which uses the same platform, and it's also called Genie Plus over there, it's $20 a head, but they do roll in the equivalent of Memory Maker, which is your photo pass as well. So it is, I would say, worth it over at Disneyland. Better bang for buck for that $20 than you're getting necessarily for your $15 at Disney World. So the way Disney Genie Plus works, actually, I'm gonna pull up. I tried, by the way, to get like my phone to screen share during this live stream. It didn't happen. Couldn't figure it out. So I apologize that you're looking at everything on my tiny phone screen. But let's say that you want to get on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Sorry, honey.
I'm good. I'm good.
Sorry. So you want to get on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. It's a very popular ride. And right now, to be honest with you, I know 80 minutes sounds really bad for people who don't go to the parks often. 80 minutes is honestly not as bad as I've seen Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. But say that you don't want to wait. So there's 2 types of lightning lanes. These are your Fastpass lanes where you buzz in with your magic band with a timed Fastpass to let you on the ride. The first type of lightning lane is the standard Genie Plus lightning lane. Now, Genie Plus, when you pay your $15, you get access to X number of rides in either park. What that does not typically include is the 2 most popular rides at each park. Right now at Magic Kingdom, that's Mine Train, and I think it was Space Mountain. It might not be anymore. But for sure, for absolute certainty, it's going to be Tron. So it's going to be Mine Train and Tron when Tron opens. At Hollywood Studios, it's Rise of Resistance and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. At Animal Kingdom, it's Expedition Everest and Flight of Passage. And at Epcot, it is Ratatouille and Guardians. Because Guardians, actually, is it? No, Guardians is still on boarding group. So, my bad. Guardians right now is utilizing boarding group. It's gonna be Guardians. Right now, it's Frozen Ever After because that line gets back as well. That's right. So, those top tier rides are going to be individualized lightning lanes, which means Genie Plus does not cover them, unfortunately. You pay for Genie Plus, you pay that $15 a head. You can get on Jungle Cruise, you can get on Haunted Mansion, you can get on Big Thunder Mountain, but you cannot get on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. For that, you need individual lightning lanes.
Bypass the line or do quick line.
Right.
You can still wait in the 80-minute line.
You can, absolutely. Standard queues are always going to be there, but if you don't want to wait, if you're paying for Genie Plus, presumably you want to get on rides sooner rather than later. So unfortunately, I'm just telling you the 2 most popular rides. If you've heard about a ride, if you've not been to Disney a long time, you've heard about one big ticket ride that's like a must do. Everyone's talking about how cool it is. You've heard it from that cousin. You've heard it from this friend that it's the most amazing thing that they've ever done and you have to do it. Guess what? It's almost certainly going to be an individualized lightning lane because Disney also hears those things and they know what rides that you'll pay extra for. So the lightning lanes, the way I do it, and it may not be the most efficient means of getting to it, but I navigate very quickly to this information by opening the app. You really can't tell where your head is until
It's fine, hun. I'm fine.
Scroll down to the park map so you can see all the wait times and whatnot, and click on the actual ride you want to get on. And then you'll see this little LL. Woo, there we go. Right there. You want to tap that. Now, it's going to tell you right now, it's pretty late in the day. So this is not at all surprising. Lightning lanes not currently offered. And it is an individual lightning lane, like I said. So lightning lanes do sell out early in the day, particularly for those individualized attractions. It's important to try and get in as early as possible, both to the park and to this lightning lane system. This is another reason why Katie is not a fan of the Genie Plus. And I get it. I don't like it either. But it's a necessary evil if you want your family to have a good time. Only one person has to do this. But if you are staying on property at a resort hotel, you have the advantage over everyone who's just driving into the parks for the day. At the resort hotels, Genie Plus and individualized lightning lanes, both systems will open for booking at approximately 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
7 a.m.
7 a.m. Sorry, yeah. 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Disney World, or at Disneyland, 7 a.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time. If you're off property, then you can't start booking Genie Plus or Lightning Lanes until you physically buzz into the park, which puts you at a severe disadvantage if the park opens at 10, where everyone else has been booking since 7. If it's Animal Kingdom, where I honestly don't recommend using Genie Plus anyway, you can walk in at 8 when the park opens. And are you laughing because Jay's comment?
No, I'm laughing because you almost always buy a Flight of Passage Lightning Lane.
I have to
anyway.
buy. No, that's individual though. That's
I
not
know.
the Genie Plus. Let's be very clear. Individual and Genie Plus, 2 different systems, same system. So
2 different systems.
Two different systems, same system. You are just an agent of chaos.
This whole
next
app
live
is
stream
chaos.
is just going to be Tim.
No, I have feelings about Genie Plus.
So Jay, our friend Jay and Sam are in the chat. Friends Jay and Sam are in the chat here. Jay says that off property is now 7 a.m. too. So actually, that's great news if that's
good
true.
News.
I hadn't heard that, so that's good. I would honestly, if you can get in at 7 a.m., more power to you. Like if you're off property and you're trying to book it to get in at as early as humanly possible on those Genie Plus reservations, load the app at 7 a.m., see what happens. I haven't tried it personally at 7 a.m. off property. I suppose any of us could at any time because they allow you to book lightning lanes even if you're not on. Like if we could book it from here in Maryland, a lightning lane for 7 a.m.
Booked a boarding group for Rise of the Resistance at
the airport. Yep.
7
But boarding
a.m.
groups are also.
No, I'm just saying like that works.
Let's not talk about boarding groups. They're just going to screw everyone up. But the idea is you go into your app, you try to figure out what rides you want to get on that are your absolute must-dos. You click on those rides and you book those passes. Now, when you try to book a lightning lane that is available, so right now what I just showed you guys, Mine Train is not currently offered because it's the end of the Disney day. This is a live stream that started at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Those lightning lanes, and I did check today because I anticipated this happening, those sold out at about 10:30. So you do need to be mindful of the fact that there are thousands of people going to Disney every day, especially if they are dropping for off-property non-resort guests at 7 a.m. as well as resort guests. Then you're looking at probably most of the big ticket items selling out by, I would say, like 8 o'clock at the latest, 8:30 maybe. That's early. That's an early morning for a vacation, and I get it. Like, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating that you have to do this. But if you're gonna do it, only one person needs to do it, which plays into another thing, which is to link your travel party. In the My Disney Experience app, and I will get to this on a different slide, but they've made it a lot easier to link up people who are traveling together. Everyone who goes to Disney needs their own account in the My Disney Experience app, so make sure that everyone downloads that app. But once your party is linked, only one person needs to get up at 7 a.m. to book everything. As long as there's a credit card that accounts for all those people linked to that one account that's going to be making the bookings, you can make the bookings for your entire party, which is really convenient for everyone else. That one person, less convenient, because you still got to get up at 7 a.m. to do all of this.
Chad and Vanessa.
Yeah, I'm going to pause to confuse.
It used to be available where you could add it with your package, with your room, your tickets or whatever. You can add Genie Plus for however many days you wanted, which didn't give you any advantage in picking things, but at least you knew you had it, and now it kind of irks me that you have to wake up, buy Genie Plus that day.
You actually don't have to buy it you do have to buy it that day, but you don't have to wake up at 7 and buy it for the first time. You can buy it at midnight.
Okay, so you're staying up till midnight to buy Genie Plus so that you can wake up at 7 and reserve everything.
There's some aggression on this side of the room.
I'm flames coming out of my head. If you know that reference, just know I love you.
You must be ready to buy at midnight and be up at 7 a.m.
Jay gets it.
I'm not saying you don't have to be up at 7 a.m. I'm saying you don't have to start the whole process at 7 a.m. You can be staged at midnight and then go to sleep and then set an alarm for 6:45.
But
I grant you, it's not a great
Seven
vacation.
Dwarfs Mine Train could be sold out before you even get in there. You don't know.
If you start at 7 a.m., that is far more likely than if you start at midnight and then start booking at 7 a.m. Yeah, see, Jay gets it.
The problem is
you only need 7 hours.
7 hours isn't bad.
All right, guys. As much as I enjoy showing you my phone, I know the glare is annoying. So this is a picture of what Disney or Genie's Plus actually looks like when you're going through. On the left is Genie as it stands. It's telling you what rides to go to. Remember, we talked about how it'll navigate you around to different things based on what you say you want to do. Most of those things won't be the things you want. So what you're seeing there on the left-hand side, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, lower than usual wait. Pirates of the Caribbean, lower than usual wait. Probably you'll never, ever, ever see that screen because both of those things are going to have high waits when you're looking to do them. But that screen on the left, that is available without using Genie Plus. On the right is what Genie Plus looks like as you're going through and purchasing lightning lanes. Now, 2 things about purchasing lightning lanes. When you buy a lightning lane, when you buy Genie Plus, you get access to X number of lightning lanes that are available, not including the individual lightning lanes. If you are booking an actual lightning lane from the Genie Plus panel, what you're booking is a time slot. You don't have to pay individually for those time slots, but you gotta pick a time slot that works for you. I agree. I agree. The chipboard is a mess. Yeah, we touched on that a little bit ago. It's not particularly helpful.
Very strange.
But the lightning lanes that you book, you're booking a timestamp that you can come back. It's a window, and they usually let you in 5 minutes early on your time window. There are rides where I've had it bounce me because seemingly at random it decides that your 5-minute window is no good. But it usually lets you in 5 minutes early and keeps your window open 5 minutes late if you're really struggling to get inside that hour. But it's an hour's window. There are 2 ways to go about booking your next lightning lane. Either you physically buzz in at your timestamp at the ride you have booked, and then you can immediately book another lightning lane from the line, or you wait 2 hours after booking that first lightning lane. And that's not 2 hours after your window ends, it's 2 hours after you physically click the button to book that lightning lane. So we've used it both ways, and that is very similar to the old Fastpass Plus system. That is consistent with what was in place for free prior to the introduction of Genie Plus. So veteran Disney people who went to the park before the pandemic should be familiar with those kind of rules and that red tape and how to navigate all of that. But that's basically how you go about booking your rides. And it sounds very complicated. It is arguably way more complicated than it needs to be. But once you start actually doing it, it's pretty simple. Once you understand how to go about booking what and when, it's pretty easy to navigate and get at least the $15 you paid worth out of the lines that you're not standing in. Arguably, Genie Plus does save you a lot of time. And we've had great success with this in navigating with 5 people when we went with my family last December, which was shortly after the launch of Genie Plus. I feel like at the time, not as many people were paying for it because it is expensive to take large groups, and that it was introduced seemingly without warning in October of 2021. So a lot of people who had already booked trips through the end of that year weren't prepared for it and didn't know any better. I think nowadays it's a little tougher to navigate the available times, book what you want, and get hold of it. But if you're quick, if you get up at 7 and you're ready, there's a good chance you're going to get at least some of what you want, which is better than having to wait in the standard queues all day for the most popular attractions. I do agree that Genie Plus is not for age groups that have difficulty navigating smartphone technology. Unfortunately, that's true for all of Disney now. I domestically and internationally, I think it's really, really difficult to go to Disney if you're not familiar with how to navigate a smartphone. Someone in your group needs to be able to navigate a smartphone and jump between apps and figure out how to book for everyone else. If you don't know how to navigate a smartphone, it's arguable that you really can't have a full day at Disney. You're going to spend a lot of time in lines. You're not going to be able to do mobile orders. It's really, really difficult to get through a Disney day without getting a little bit frustrated if you don't have the My Disney Experience app, if you're not familiar with how Genie works in Genie Plus. It's become a new age. That is unfortunate, but it is the way it is. This is a look at everything. This was actually Disney's marketing materials. So this is what they pitched as complimentary Genie, everything that you can do without paying. Personalized day optimizer. That's the tip board that Jay and Sam were talking about. It's a mess. It's not good. It's just not good. I'm sorry. It's really, really bad. For you, the end user. For Disney, it works great. But again, for you, the end user, it's going to send you to a lot of places that you don't want. Forecasted waits, be aware that Disney does inflate wait times. That's true for almost every Disney attraction. Sometimes the waits are a little bit longer or almost dead on, but I would say that's been rare. In the cases where we've been, the forecasted wait has usually been a lot higher than the time you actually spend in line. So when you look at forecasted waits, just think, if it's 30 minutes or less, that's pretty good for a Disney attraction, especially if it's top tier.
Very good.
So we always, if we see 30 or 35 minutes on something we want to do, we're like, let's go there immediately. Let's go. And it usually winds up being about 25. Restaurant waitlist check-in and reservations. That is old school My Disney Experience, has nothing to do with Genie, but they're pitching it like it's
right.
Genie.
Like there's 3 things here that you could just get from the app.
But it is something that you can do for free. So if they're rolling it in with Genie, that's fine. I think the idea is that the My Disney Experience app is the shell that holds Genie and Genie Plus now. So they're saying, here's Genie and everything you can do with Genie, and here's Genie Plus, and that's paid, and these are the 3 things you can do with Genie Plus that you can't do with anything else.
Exactly, Jay. I can complimentary spend my money.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
They're pitching.
Yeah. Mobile order is also kind of essential. So arguably, if Genie is the My Disney Experience app without payment, then arguably it does do that for you. But it did that before, right. So it's not new. It's just, you slap the Genie brand on it. So really what you're paying for with Genie Plus is lightning lanes, and that's it. Because the PhotoPass AR lenses are fun to look at, but you would never, ever pay a dime for them if they weren't included. They're usually just things that you fool around. They're literally like AR filters. Like you can put Mickey over your shoulder and he'll be like, oh!
Turn yourself into the Genie.
Yeah, it's fun because you've already paid for it.
Time wasters.
But if you were like, oh, I can pay $15 to have Mickey Mouse pop up on my shoulder. No, I'm good. That's how that day would go. So...
I just want to be at that pitch meeting where they're like, what if we also had like these unique AR filters? And that was part of, like, people would want that. That could be a big draw.
Despite Katie's toot, this is not a Disney bashing live stream, I promise. This is just a system we're navigating together as a team. Yeah! Let's talk about Disneyland versus Disney World. So we mentioned early on that Disneyland uses the exact same platform, but the cost is different. So at Disneyland, you're paying $20 a head for the broader Genie Plus, and you still have the individual lightning lanes as well. I did forget to mention that the individual lightning lanes range in price by day, by time of year, et cetera, kind of like park tickets. So I can't really give you a fixed price point on any of that. I can only tell you that there's 2 attractions at every Disney park that are going to be individually priced out. And if you want to ride those rides, it's going to cost you
between $12 and $17
on average, but I've seen it get up to 20. It's inconsistent.
Buy another Genie Plus.
You literally can buy a second Genie Plus for one ride, and that is. At the end, I will save all of our commentary for the end on how they could improve the system.
I'm not saving.
No, you're really, really bad.
I told you I wouldn't have any helpful information. I just have rage.
All right, but for real, Disney World versus Disneyland. Disneyland is $20 a head for Genie Plus. It has the same AR filters. It has the same basic platform, but it also rolls in the Photo Pass, which is Memory Maker at Disney World.
Is nice.
It is, because at Disney World, you're going to pay $150 for Memory Maker.
Yep.
And that's for everyone. Like, you don't have to pay that for every single head, but it is,
like one person has
the
Memory
Maker at Disney World, or everyone has it at Disneyland. And Disneyland is like $5 per person, which is pretty solid.
I hope that doesn't mean that they're gonna like get rid of PhotoPass photographers there, because
everyone hopes that.
Because they're not making as much money. I don't know, but I would think I'd be more likely to go in on $20 a day to have PhotoPass more than pay $150 for my 3-day trip. So I would think they might be making more money from there, but I don't know. I don't look at the spreadsheets.
I do.
From Disney
when they're available. I'm very interested in the financial inner workings of Disney. Anywho's the thing that is nice about both Disney World and Disneyland's Genie Plus, but more so at Disneyland, because Disneyland has 2 parks that are very, very, very close together. Disney World has 4 parks that are very, very spread apart. So although this is true of both parks, it really benefits you at Disneyland. Bear in mind that when you buy Genie Plus, you are buying for the whole day. It does not matter which park you are in. If you have a park hopper that allows you to jump from Animal Kingdom that opens at 8 a.m. to Epcot, which might stay open until 11 p.m., and you are lucky enough to get through all your Genie Plus favorites at the beginning of the day at Animal Kingdom, and then you have time to go over and book another one on Test Track and, I don't know, 3 Caballeros. I don't think that's Lightning Lane.
I don't think they have Lightning Lane.
But, you can jump from one park to the other and retain your Genie Plus, so you're able to get more done at multiple parks, which is really, really handy. The thing of it is, because Disney World is, as we mentioned, very spread apart, most people don't park hop. That's just it's just a reality. I mean, if you're there all the time and you just want to get in and do your favorite ride and get out and then go to a different park, then probably you will be able to make the most of Genie Plus because you're jumping from park to park. But if you are a family, as we keep presenting this as a scenario, if you're a family going for one time, it might be your only time at Disney, trying to get through as many rides as possible, you're probably going to dump your whole day into that one park, trying to do it all. At Disneyland, it is very possible to do all the highlight rides at one park and then jump and do all highlight rides in another park. It's just another reason why we love Disneyland so much more than Disney World. Not to bash on Disney World again, but it is, I think the better value does come from Disneyland's Genie Plus. $20 includes Memory Maker, includes the ability to transfer. You still have to buy a park hopper ticket. You can't just,
which, if you're not buying a park hopper ticket at
Disneyland, you are wasting.
You're doing it wrong.
You are wasting your time and your money, presumably, because you get better value out of the park hopper than you would out of the single park ticket. But especially if you buy a single park ticket and then go to Genie Plus and buy that too. I don't know how to tell you this. You're spending more money than you need to. You're spending more to get less at that point. So we talked about buzzing into these lightning lanes. This is what you're going to be looking for. I'm assuming that everyone who's watching this live stream has never touched Genie Plus before, has no idea what any of this is like. So this is for you if you're a noob to Disney. You usually have on your wrist something that Disney will send you at Disney World, which is a magic band. I did not bring one today because I'm dumb. But the wristlet that Disney will send you for, I think, $10 a person. It's just a basic magic band, which transfers everything on your My Disney Experience app to your wrist. That is the easiest way to get around Disney World. Now at Disneyland, they don't have magic bands yet. It's coming, and it's coming real soon. And in fact, I think they've said that the intention is to have it there by the next time we go. So we might be experimenting with this soon. But at the moment, when you go to Disneyland with Genie Plus, you're using your phone, which is off screen. You're logging into the Disneyland app, which is similar in almost every way to the My Disney Experience app, which is Disney World's. You're loading your Genie Plus barcode, and you're putting it in a little box. We have vlogs from Disneyland that are recently published from our recent trip with Kaylee from Fantastic Fandoms. If you want to see that in action, we did use Genie Plus every single day, except for the day that you guys went solo for like a couple of hours.
The girls' night vlog, which is also out, we did not use Genie Plus.
Yeah. But when you use Genie Plus at Disneyland, if you do pay for Genie Plus as an upgrade, you're taking the barcode on your phone in the app and you're putting it in a little box that has a scanner on it. And the purpose of the box is to prevent glare so that they can quickly scan you and move on. At Disney World, it's this. It's the same little puck that you use to scan into the parks themselves. You'll, instead of putting your phone up against it, although I think you can use your phone with Magic Mobile.
Magic Mobile is a thing now.
You can also use your park ticket if they've given you a card, or you can use your Magic Band. And all you got to do is tap it and you're in. And as soon as that goes green, you can book your next Genie Plus reservation. Literally as soon as you are in the queue, book.
If there are any left.
If there are any left. If you're at 8 o'clock p.m. and you're buzzing in, it's probably not going to be there. So this, in essence, is how Genie and Genie Plus work. Again, it's not terribly complicated, but it can be very overwhelming if you're there for the first time, because these are decisions you've got to make very, very quickly. So
you also have to be spending quite a bit of your time on your phone looking at things, which is not like you didn't do that with Fastpass or Max Pass Plus, but I feel like it's a little bit more of that now.
You are kind of smartphone reliant. There are things we like about Disney in the modern day. There are things we don't like about Disney. This is one of the things that we feel like is probably not for the better, but they are trying to move with the times, and the reality is that a lot of people are on their phones anyway. You really shouldn't. If you're going to like a theme park, which is like a once-in-a-lifetime vacation destination, you really shouldn't spend your whole day on your phone. But the reality is that most people were going to. Yeah. So they decided that, since everyone's looking at their phones anyway, we can use the technology that's available with smartphones and Bluetooth to help you book fast lanes, which increases park revenue, and it also allows you to save some time. Now, bear in mind, the reason that most people don't like Genie Plus is because it used to be free. Fastpass Plus, when you were booking your Disney trip, you got a notification that said 60 days out, you had the same chance as everyone else to try and book 2 Fast Passes per day for everyone. Now, the good news is with Genie Plus and the individualized lightning lanes, you now have a chance to book all the rides in one day. You don't have to fly by night and hope for the best.
I mean, you could, once you use those 2 that you used up for the day, you could book more if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that was only limited. It was only limited if you were smart and booked them early in the day. By 10 o'clock, you could start booking.
Yeah, because the Fastpass system used to be free, but because it was free, everyone had access to it. Now it's gated with $15, which means you have a much better, the competition pool is smaller, was the point I was trying to make. That has changed.
Oh, okay.
The pool of other people trying to pull Fastpass reservations is changed. Vanessa might be right. It might have been 3 instead of 2.
I think it was 3.
I thought it was 2 because you could do 2 per park. Oh, I remember what it was. It was 2. It was 2. Yeah, you could do tiers.
Oh, Jay's got it.
Yeah.
Only one
first tier, 2 second tier, and once you book those in your park, you would have a rolling third. The cooldown is also new. You didn't have the cooldown before with Fastpass Plus. So if you booked your third, you would have to wait until your third until you could physically buzz in, which is why everyone would try to book something that was pretty close to their last Fastpass so that they could buzz in and immediately book their next one. But now with Genie Plus, you do have 2 hours between if you can't get a Genie Plus reservation. Let's say this is something that happened to us in Disneyland, actually. Let's say that the thing you really want to do that one day is Space Mountain. But your next time for Space Mountain is 5 p.m. and your next time to book Space Mountain is at 8 p.m. I say, and I did, book that because by the time your next opening occurs, it's going to be closed. Like, it's going to be gone. At 8 p.m., if things are spacing out all the way at 8 p.m.
booked that Space Mountain at like 2 p.m.
Not for hyperspace. For hyperspace, it was 7:10.
No. I mean, no. I'm saying like we booked the late one like much earlier.
Well, you're focusing on minutia.
I'm just saying we were like we want to ride this ride, so it doesn't matter that it's 6 hours from now.
My point is we had a large window, and we booked a really late Space Mountain time so that we could be sure that we could get on. It was worth it. Space Mountain at Disneyland, far superior in every way, which is why they should not retheme it to Lightyear. Anyway.
Oh gosh.
Anyway.
Just open up that can of worms.
Some of us have the ability to peek inside a can of worms without opening it and throwing the worms everywhere.
They're everywhere. The worms are everywhere.
If you book a lightning lane for late in the day for that one attraction you've got to do, then 2 hours later you can book your next one. So I'll just take Katie's time because it might be closer. I don't remember. I was sick. At 2 p.m.
He was still doing a good job.
We booked a lightning lane for Space Mountain at 2 p.m. and that was the one we had to do. But the lightning lane itself was for 8 p.m. So that means that officially we have nothing else on the ride calendar until 8 p.m. That sucks because it's 2 p.m. That's 6 hours. You could be doing other things. So we did go stand in some standard queues while we waited. But at 2 hours after we booked that, so even though we still had a lightning lane far in advance, at 4 p.m., we were able to book the next lightning lane because we had that 2 hour cooldown.
Pretty sure was a second ride on Indiana Jones or something
it
like
was.
that.
That was great. But that was my point. That wasn't part of Fastpass Plus. The cooldown was something that didn't exist because you would always get your standard 3 and then you would have a rolling third. I think Genie Plus is an improvement in that way. Over the original Fastpass Plus system, I guarantee you, if this system was free, if the Genie Plus system was free, and you were only paying for individual lightning lanes, everyone would be thrilled with it. They would be pissed off that they had to pay for 8 people to ride Frozen because they have 4 little girls that have to ride Frozen. But they would be satisfied with Genie Plus as a platform because inherently it is more fluid than Fastpass Plus was. But it's the fact that you got to pay for Genie Plus, and then you also got to pay for the individual
for the fancy rides.
Fancy rides, as Molly from Olliers calls it. If you have reservation stack, it's always 2. Yeah, that's a cooldown.
But if you use the one before,
yes,
time is up. You're still waiting.
Yes, your cooldown clock starts over when you make a new reservation. So at 4 p.m., if we hadn't gone and buzzed right into Indiana Jones, we would have had to wait another 2 hours to be able to book our next Fastpass. I'm telling you guys, this sounds complicated if you've never heard of the system before. It is more complicated than it needs. It really is. Like, for people who are coming into this fresh, this is a lot to take in. But once you're in the parks and you start booking, it's really, really easy. It's frustrating as you're figuring it out, but it's really, really easy once you actually start. So then it becomes a question of price. Like, do I want to spend $15 per person, or do I want to spend...
We need Jay on this live stream because we're like behind the information.
That's not accurate, is it?
I don't know. I haven't been at Disney.
All right, Jay, supply some backstory here.
Wait.
You're still able. We were able to make Fastpass the next Genie Plus reservation.
No, I'm not saying Jay's wrong. I'm just saying I don't know what the actual rule is.
Yeah, Jay, tell us if you're not able to make your new reservation at Buzz-In.
Is it a cooldown no matter what now? What? See, this is what's frustrating. The rules just change all the time.
I feel like we should verify this.
With the because they made it available for everyone at 7 now.
I'm calling Jay.
We're phoning a friend.
We're phoning a friend.
This is a first.
Jay, get ready. You're about to be phoned. You're about to be on live, man.
This is exciting. I'm really excited. Also haven't talked to Jay in a while.
It's true. We haven't.
So I turned the sound off and watching your live stream, so you won't hear the echo in the background.
Okay.
That's much appreciated. All right,
so
tell
I
us.
can only hear you guys.
Tell us what the actual rule is, man. What was you're talking?
Okay, so we found this out literally 2 weeks ago. Everything that you said was what we believed up until about a week ago. So we're learning with you guys, just so you know. This is new to us too. So 2 weeks ago they changed it. So now the 7 a.m. that used to be just for on-resort guests is now for everyone. And the reason we found that out is because on our drive to pick up our friend at 6 o'clock in the morning from the airport to go to Epcot, Sam went to do a queue for Guardians of the Galaxy. And when she went to the queue, it said, Lightning Lane starts at 7 a.m. We said, that's not right because we don't have resort reservations. But guess what? We were able to get one. So then we looked it up. And then we went and we bought a Lightning Lane that day. We went to check in and we went to go make, as you said, your new reservation, which has been standard all previously.
Yeah.
So then we're going to make it. It says, no, you have to wait an hour and a half until you make the new one. So then I was like, damn, I got to look this up. So we looked it up and they had changed everything. Literally, Tim, it's probably like a week and a half before you made this video, or you did this live stream. Yeah. A week and a half ago, they literally changed it. So
Okay, so now
Disney, man, this is if you are watching this live, just know we don't trust it.
See?
I don't know when they go Katie, when they do this executive board that you're talking about, I'm pretty sure there's just roll the dice every 2 weeks to change it up. How is there any stability in your trip? Bob K-Peck, if you're watching this, there has to be some level of stability. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I'm just Katie. I'm with you. I'm frustrated.
Gosh, it's so much worse than I was making.
So to be clear, you're saying that it told you 90 minutes from the time you buzzed in was the time you could make your next Lightning Lane?
Yeah, it's 2 hours from when you book it. So you can't do the stacking check-ins, which I used to love to do. Because we had used Lightning Lane multiple times, and I had done it. And this was the first time when it was Sam's friend that came, literally a week and a half ago.
Right.
It was last weekend, and that's when we learned all the new rules because everything had changed when we went to go use Genie Plus. So if I hadn't gone there a week and a half ago, I wouldn't even have known. None of the big websites even posted it. I had to look it up to see the changes. And who knows? Maybe I'm wrong again. Maybe it's already changed. But yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to be that guy.
No, you're good. This is
fine.
good information. We're trying to make it as easy as possible. So we appreciate people who have.
Just so you know, I'm with you. If I had made a live stream video and I didn't go to the park, this is where I would be in the same spot.
Fair enough.
I've been so stressed about this dang Genie Plus video all day, and all my fears are coming true. No, serious. I was like,
It does change. This is Disney. It changes really quick.
Yeah,
But
if there's anything you learn from this live stream, is just look it up the day before you go.
yeah.
Don't know how to use it. People online with us were asking us for help. They didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, there was a mom with her kids that was just how did you do that? She paid for it. It's she only made one the whole day.
Oh no.
yikes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I didn't want to keep. I knew that too. I didn't want to keep writing different stuff. No, it's this. No, it's this.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Jay and Sam are Orlando natives now. They live quite close to Disney and they go regularly. So this is good information. These are straight from the source.
I'm happy I could have been your lifeline on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
We're going to start a new segment where we just phone a friend for help every time we get stuck. Just from here on out at 7:30 every other Tuesday, just sit near your phone in case we have a question.
You don't know. We might phone you.
All right, man. We appreciate it.
And if I ever need you guys, I will phone you guys.
Yeah.
Live stream stuff.
Good.
I hope you return the favor.
Good. Collaboration. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. I'll be BSing in the comments.
He's trying to take Mrs. place with the commentary.
Oh, throw down.
Bro, yeah. All right, y'all. We miss you.
We miss you too. We miss you. We can't wait to see you guys again.
Yes. Soon.
Subscribe to Timmy.
Say hi to Frank for me.
Yes, we will.
All right.
All right.
Our
If
friends
you
are
guys are not subscribed to the Theme Park Foodies, that was our friend Jay and Sam and their dog Frank, who live near Orlando. Please go check out Theme Park Foodies because they are awesome. And they know so much from firsthand experience. So I'm going to take that as law then. We've not been in the parks since our Disneyland trip in April. If this changed 2 weeks ago, then this is whatever it is.
So whatever research you're doing for your trip, be as current as you can.
That is
Look up vlogs from the day
biggest
before
lesson.
and find out what's happening.
Yes.
Check the website. Because I feel like those changes were not announced because usually like a change
if you
like
follow
that,
the Disney apps and whatnot, like the news sources, you do
Yeah.
see like, Genie Plus change. And I knew about something had changed where you couldn't get access to it in advance anymore. I knew that changed. That it used to be you could book in advance of your trip, and now you can't anymore.
Yeah.
But it seems like these are changing all the time, and not all of them are announced. So I'm gonna again take this as law. This is what happened to Jay and Sam not 2 days ago. So this is probably the most current information you're gonna get. If you're not able to stack your reservations with the buzz in and then you immediately go, that sucks. But that might be what it is. So
your first day maybe playing around a little bit, trying to get used to it. And that was definitely the case for us on that family trip in December. And that's why I think part of the reason why Disneyland went kind of smoothly for us with
because we knew
Kaylee,
how it worked. And it was so much easier to Disneyland too, because everything was in. I honestly think that fewer people pay for it at Disneyland. Because Disneyland is so much more of a local park that most people aren't feeling
the locals
compelled.
aren't going to be like, I'm going to pay $20.
Right,
No.
for things that I can do any day.
Yeah.
But for us who only go so often, it was really, really useful. I think
to
that
do
you
it
do.
all.
I mean, I'm fully going to go in on Genie Plus again the next time we're at Disneyland. There's no question. But I also have a tendency to go in on Genie Plus at Disney World, even when we don't necessarily need it, because at Epcot, I got to ride Test Track. And Test Track is on the
that's what you do.
That was her favorite story
my
to tell up to a
God.
certain point.
We had,
Thank goodness
we
it disappeared
park
until I just resurrected it.
hopped from, was it Animal Kingdom?
No, it was on the plane.
Oh, that's
when we
right.
were
It was
going
on
down.
the plane. It was on the plane, and
It
we
was
were
on
like,
the plane,
"Hey, we can
and it was
make it."
past 7 a.m. and we were staying on property. So at the time, I was able to exploit the loophole to get in and start booking Genie Plus reservations.
And he just sits
And
there
I
and he
went
starts like
straight for
giggling,
Test Track.
and I'm like, "What did you do?" He's like, "I got Genie Plus. We're gonna ride Test Track at 8 o'clock." I'm like, "Great!" So we just paid $20 to ride just Test Track.
You
I
hear
think
this?
we ended
you
up.
hear that voice she did just now?
I think we ended up
this
using.
is what our relationship is like. Send help.
Katie's talking now. This is like the one thing I have to say about it. No,
say-
it's not the one thing.
say your
I've
thing.
said a lot
Say your
about
thing.
Genie
Say your
Plus.
thing.
Anyway, he used it. I think we paid the $15, so, and then we rode Test Track when we got there. And then I'm pretty sure it actually broke down, so we had to wait a little bit longer for it anyway. Because
Yes, but when a ride breaks down,
and then I think we maybe were able to do Soarin', but we didn't do Frozen because that's a fancy one, right?
yeah, Frozen is separate. When a ride breaks down, if you have a Genie Plus
Don't be
reservation-
like Tim. Use it when you have a full day to use it and actually get your money's worth out of the $20, and don't pay $20 for one ride on Test Track.
When a ride, well, I paid for the ride on Test Track because I knew I wanted to do Test Track, and it was not the good use of money. I'll grant you, because I thought that I was only buying
But he
for
was so
Test Track,
proud of himself.
but I was proud of myself. Because then we did wind up using it for a couple more things that day. It was just, you didn't get a full day because we flew in and then we went to Epcot. We knew we weren't getting a full day because that was actually our Run Disney trip.
Yeah.
And we knew we were going to the expo that day. So we were going to hit Epcot to see Harmonious because we love Harmonious, but we weren't planning to do a whole lot else there. And I was like, well, if I really want to jump the line on Test Track,
And I think we were almost late to Harmonious because of that Test Track delay.
worth it. If a ride breaks down, while you have a Genie Plus window for it, by the way, they will usually give you an all experiences pass, which does not include fancy rides, quote unquote, like for individuals.
The old Fastpasses usually didn't either. They always
Yeah.
You can't use this on Peter Pan.
You can use it on everything but the things that you would really want to exploit the things to use it on. It's basically like a violation-free system. But they will let you come back to use it on Test Track another time, or they will let you use it on Soarin' or Spaceship Earth or whatever else has Genie Plus. I would say, and I'll get to this towards the end too, there are parks at Disney World that are very much worth using Genie Plus to navigate, and there are parks that really aren't. And in those parks that really aren't, the individualized lightning lanes are way more valuable than the parks that are heavier on Genie Plus rides, if that makes sense. You still probably want to pay for a Fastpass at each park, but you don't have to pay for Genie Plus if you're not going to use Genie Plus.
That's one important distinction, is those fancy rides or individual lightning lanes, which I think is just a dumb name, but anyway.
ILLs?
It's just hard to say.
You need to come up. That's why Molly calls
individual.
them fancy rides.
Yeah, that's why I do steal fancy rides. If you want to do the fancy rides, you can't. And if that's the most important thing to you is to do Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, you don't have to pay for Genie Plus. You can just buy the $15 ride on.
And that's
Seven
what I would
Dwarfs
do at Animal Kingdom.
And wait in standard queues for everything else, which I still have feelings about.
Haley is reminding us of the time so Radiator Springs, fun story. Radiator Springs broke down because there was a crisis. I'm not going to tell you what the crisis is, and neither is Katie, because it'll just be more Disney hate.
No, it's not Disney hate.
It is Disney hate. It's Disney adult hate.
It was a dumb Disney adult.
But
don't get out of the ride while it's moving.
Radiator Springs broke down.
It ceased operation.
It ceased operation while we were on the ride. And we were sitting in the dark ride seat for like a solid 10 minutes with the lights on. It was actually a really cool experience. And we got our very first in-show exit. So we got to walk through the dark ride scenes and off of the ride. They don't let you film when that happens. But because that happened, at the end of that walkthrough, when we're all exiting, they scan our phones and they say, all right, you got a new all experiences pass. And that, because we had paid to get on Radiator Springs, we bought a lightning lane window for that, and it was an individual lightning lane as well. That means we'd already paid for the highest tier of experience that we could get, and we could literally use that golden ticket pass on anything. But we did go back to Radiator Springs to use it later. If we'd wanted to, we could have used it on any of the attractions at the high tier as well for that all experiences pass. But as I said, we wanted to use it on Radiator Springs. It's our favorite ride.
So good.
That, if you have a lightning lane window and something goes wrong, they usually try to accommodate you. If you have any questions about Genie Plus while you're in the parks, look for the blue umbrellas. The guest services team is great at Disney. They know it's not a perfect system either. They're trying their best to help you. So if you have an issue, they will try to help you sort it out.
And if the ride is down during your window, I'm pretty sure you just go back and use it. Like they just let you use it later.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to dart back to the slide I got diverted from before. This is entering the tips and tricks section here. So step by step, let's talk about what you can best do to utilize lightning lanes and Genie Plus, and how to maximize your time in the parks and get those reservations you really want. Number one is to link your party before the morning of. If you're going to Disneyland with a group of adults that has no idea how to navigate,
before.
You can literally, I'm helping someone plan a Disney trip right now. I actually linked her entire party. None of those people had Disney accounts prior to yesterday, but they're all linked now. It's really, really easy, and they're not going until October. So all of those people should be able to book, or the one person that I'm helping directly that I'm teaching how to use Genie Plus,
just training someone
should be able. I have to, because it requires training. Everyone can book through that one account that has access. Any one of those people, once they're linked, can make Genie Plus reservations for the entire party. They just have to have a credit card link. Mindful of the fact that you are going to have to pay from that one account for all 2, 3, 4, 5, however many people. So $15 per head, count it up, budget it, figure out which parks you need to use Genie Plus in, and plan for that expense. get those people linked and be ready. And real quick, I'm not going to discount anything from Jay for the rest of the night.
Oh, we have a clarification. You can make a lightning lane after your first.
Okay. So that's why I said plan on being able to book 2 hours after your last one based on the information that Jay and Sam provided and what they see. But it's possible that you're able to get a hold of lightning lanes.
I mean, you can always try to book it and see. I mean, all the message will say is you can't yet.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You should always try. And if you, again, if you have a question, blue umbrellas. I would talk to guest services to get the most up-to-date information.
Yeah. We did learn that not just any cast member is an expert in Genie Plus. Like, they actually didn't get really good training on it before it launched either. They might know it by now.
Oh, they definitely know it now. It's been a headache for everyone since
But if they're, especially if they're maybe a newbie, they might not know.
So this is what the 2 different ways to link parties. It used to be one. This second on the right-hand side, that's a new feature. And if someone has a reservation or a Disney Plus account or an ESPN account or has been to Disney before and they already have an existing account, this makes it so much easier. But if you're booking a party for the first time that has never been to Disney and new accounts need to be created for everyone, you can do that. As the primary account holder, you can create and assign tickets to new accounts and you can give them all names. It's very, very easy to do online. It is impossibly difficult to do in the app. So I would literally go to mydisneyexperience.com, type the whole thing in, and book your tickets. And when you go to assign your tickets, if you need to create new accounts, the easiest way is just to buy the tickets. And then you go to actually assign the tickets and you say new accounts. It's 3 fields. It's first name, last name, age. And then you click create account. And you are now the account manager for that account. Now, if the person already has a Disney account and wants to use their Disney account, the easier way is to use the new linking feature. This is going to be in the app under the My Family and Friends. I will show you in real time because it took me a while to figure this out. It's going to be very, very difficult if you don't know. So down at the bottom right, hamburger icon, 3 stacked lines, tap that. This is your profile. And you're going to want to scroll down all the way to the bottom where it says My Profile. And on the right at the top, you see Family and Friends list. Tap that. This gives you a list of everyone you're currently connected to. And if you're looking to add someone new, all you have to do is scroll all the way down to Add a Guest. That's to link people that are already with Disney, that are familiar with how to navigate the app. Now, if you click Add a Guest, it's going to give you 3 options now. People who are connected through your existing family and friends, you might be able to find by clicking Find through My Connected Guests. Creating a new account, you click I'll enter my name and age. This is the long way to get to that option. It's way, way easier on the website. The new option is scan their linking code, which is the bottom option. And this, all you have to do is stand next to the person, tap scan linking code, and then it activates your QR. And that's it.
Hey.
So that's new. That was added. This is the one thing I know about cool new stuff that was added.
At least this one's cool.
At least this one is a cool upgrade. Yeah. If people are familiar with Disney, if they're in the parks and you want to link or, say you're meeting up with someone in the park for the first time in a long time and you want to book things together and maybe you're not already connected, that's an easy way to link people. But the bottom line here is you can do all of this months before you actually show up on property. And you should, because then all you have to worry about at 7 in the morning when you're tired and blurry-eyed from the previous park day and struggling to find the reservations you want is the timestamps. You're already linked. If everyone has a park pass reservation, which you should have anyway, then all you have to do is click on the lightning lanes you want. It'll automatically assign the party with everyone you're linked with that has that park pass reservation, and you just uncheck whoever's not going or doesn't need that reservation, and you book it. And from there, maybe you're able to book 2 hours later. Maybe you're able to book when you buzz in. It seems to be in flux right now. But I would say at minimum, you can start your Genie Plus day with that first booking, which is why I would say start early. 7 a.m., try to shoot for that first Genie Plus reservation. Know the rides you want to book in whatever park you're going to. Look for if there's 3 ones you got to do and one of them is available at 9 a.m. and the other 2 aren't available until 11 a.m. because people are already booking. I would say book the one that's at 9 a.m. so that you have more availability throughout the rest of the day, even if it means that you're not getting on those other 2 until 7 or 8 p.m. It would still be worth it. You'd still maximize your day if you book the one that you really want to do that's early, and then you get to those other 2 when you get to them. And if worse comes to worse, you can always stand in the standard queue as well. You're not going to miss the ride if it's the one ride you really want to do. Genie Plus, its only function is to save you time standing in line. If it's not doing that, then either too many people are using it or you might not be planning as effectively as you could be, which is why trying to give you the leg up and give you as much advantage as you can here with this live stream. Now, I had put this in before we had that conversation with Jay and Sam, so you could not be able to utilize the stacking function the way that you want to. We don't know. But for now, we're going to operate on the assumption that you got at least at max, or no, I'll flip that. At maximum, you're waiting 2 hours to book your next lightning lane. Best case scenario, if it was a glitch that Jay and Sam experienced, and we did get some information that is in flux, you should be able to book with your Magic Band as soon as you scan in. Yeah, and Jay does say, website says you can badge it at redemption. So let's assume that's going to function that way, because I too love stacking. Then there are two ways to book, and we've discussed them both. Badge in with your Magic Band, your phone, or your ticket, and wait 2 hours. Either one should work for you. This is what a lightning lane looks like if you've never been to Disney and you're wondering what the heck we're talking about. But they're clearly labeled throughout all the parks, so you shouldn't have any trouble finding them. Standby entrance is always going to show inflated wait times too. So if you can't get the lightning lane you want, make sure that you keep an eye on the wait times. Again, 35 to 30 minutes, jump in that line. If you really want to do it, 35 to 30. And the puck. I don't know why I put that in there. The individual lightning lanes, one thing that we haven't mentioned about the fancy rides is that you can only book 2 per day. Losing my depth perception here. That's 2 per day total.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Park hopping allows you to use Genie Plus all day, an unlimited number of times, as many times as you can pack it in. The individualized lightning lanes for the 2 most popular attractions in each park. Unfortunately, that's not, you do the 2 in one park, you hop to the next park, and you buy 2 more. I don't know why it's like this. I guess it's capacity management, which makes some kind of sense, but if you
because you would most certainly pay.
I absolutely would. I would go to I would start the day with Flight of Passage. I would then go to Rise of exactly that. I would go hit all of the big rides, all of the parks. But you can't. You can split them. You can do Flight of Passage in one park, and then you can hop over to Hollywood Studios and do Rise of Resistance, and those are 2 different parks and 2 different lightning lanes, but those are your 2. You can do 2 in one park, you can do 1 in each park. That's it. You don't have the option to do more than 2. So that is a handicap of the individual lightning lanes. And that, again, is per person. Yeah. So Flight of Passage is probably my go-to for all kinds of fancy lightning lanes. Now, this is key. We don't recommend using the Genie Plus in every single park. So part of why I'm highlighting Flight of Passage and Rise of the Resistance as must-do attractions is because not every park is worth spending the Genie Plus on. They are worth spending the individual lightning lanes on. So if you know you're going to have to choose between $15 a head or $18 a head, but you don't necessarily have to do both, these are the attractions we would recommend that you jump to for the individualized attractions. Now, this is subjective, mind you, because we love these rides. If you
don't care about these rides.
If you don't care about Avatar or Flight of Passage, if you don't care about Avatar but you've never been on Flight of Passage, let me assure you, I don't care about Avatar.
We also don't care about Avatar.
Flight of Passage is amazing. But if you're a huge Star Wars nut and you gotta get on Rise of Resistance, but your family doesn't, that's only $16 to $18 to $20 for you. That's not that price for everyone. So we highly recommend using the individual Lightning Lane system at Animal Kingdom in Disney World, Hollywood Studios in Disney World, and Disney's California Adventure at Disneyland. Mindful of the fact that at Disneyland, it's also worth paying for Genie Plus because you're able to use that at both parks all day with a park hopper. But if you're only doing one thing, if you're coming and you're only spending money on one system, put it into Radiator Springs because that is a fantastic attraction.
I think important to note that even though we did utilize Genie Plus in Disneyland, there are some rides that do not operate are standby only in Disneyland, and the big ones are the Disneyland fantasy rides. So just be aware of that.
That is important.
You will have to wait for Snow White, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Toad, Mr. Toads, and what am I missing?
Jungle Cruise.
That's not a fantasy.
No, it's not. What did you list? I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were only listing Fantasyland rides.
But those, I'm just saying, those are like those are the Fantasyland rides that we know don't have lightning lane or individual lightning lane. So just being aware that it does not include every ride, and that's the case for Disney. I think there's rides at Disney World it doesn't include as well, but those are usually
does not have one.
Right, and those are usually bucket list things for people to do.
Yeah.
So just be aware that you got to wait those out.
Where we would absolutely recommend using Genie Plus, Magic Kingdom, because there's so many attractions. Hollywood Studios, because there's so many attractions. Disneyland and DCA, because you can park hop back and forth and get an entire day out of it. But even if you're only going to Disneyland proper, still worth it. If you're only going to DCA, I don't know. I wouldn't say necessarily the DCA is worth paying for Genie Plus on its own if you only have a one-day park. Or one park day, rather. Yeah. But definitely those. And again, if you're using a park hopper, Genie Plus is great. If you're planning to hop anyway, it doesn't matter what park you're looking at. I would still say Genie Plus allows you to get on multiple rides at multiple parks per day. That's worth $15. It is. If you're going to use it properly. If you're going to start at 7 a.m., you're going to hit the first park at Rope Drop, you're going to stay for 4 hours, then you're going to hop somewhere else, totally worth Genie Plus. You're going to get on a lot of rides that day. If you're not, if you're just slow going, if it's food and wine at Epcot and you're just planning to drink around the world, have some snacks, and then move on to, I don't know, Magic Kingdom's probably the only park that's open late at that point because you're in the latest open park. But you get my point. Like, if you're just there for the atmosphere, if you're a local, you can come back anytime. Genie Plus isn't worth it. It's not. If you're going there for once in a lifetime, it sucks that it costs money because it didn't used to. But it is essential to your day. To keeping, especially if you got little ones or the elderly along in tow, that you don't want to have these people standing in lines for too long. They get bored, they get tired. It's difficult to capture the Disney magic if you're spending 8 hours a day in queues.
Sorry, I just saw Jay's latest comment. It was really funny. There's been a whole.
I've used that picture in a different.
There's
stream.
been a whole discourse, and I'm not sure, just from glancing, whether we've actually come to a consensus on whether you can stack or not. Because that's what I was like. I don't think we know.
Yep. Mandy, I do remember Mandy has a great vlog on using Genie Plus at Disney because I know she was setting the phone to use the cooldown to her advantage, which we did at Disneyland as well. So it's a known trick. Whether or not the stacking works the way it used to, we are not sure, but we are hoping that it is. Whoever in the chat goes to Disney next, just do us a favor and figure it out and then just post it in the comments later because we want to give you all the most up-to-date information, and this part of the reason we do these live streams is to kind of crowdsource anything we don't know because we're not experts. But yeah, Chad and Vanessa are saying that you can get a new one as long as you don't have another one waiting on a clock. That's interesting.
Wait, does that mean that if I do have one at 8:00 p.m., I can't do one at 5?
Well, you could at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Because we booked an 8 p.m. Space Mountain.
Has it changed since April 30th?
Well, everyone's saying whatever changes were made 2 weeks ago. So
I'll have to go
get
back.
Get your head out my camera.
I'll have to go back and read all those comments and see.
All right. So once you've decided to do Disney Plus, the question becomes how much is it going to cost me? Or Genie Plus, rather. Disney Plus is a whole different thing. So let me pull.
Are we still
there?
I can only hear background music. No! The curse of the background
It's
back! This has just been way too fun.
It's back! What a wild stream, you guys. All right, I'm going to assume that I just... Yeah, I figured out what's wrong.
Did you mute us?
I muted us when I pulled us out of the screen. It's okay. It's all good.
Well, you can't see me. I just gave everyone a thumbs up.
Thank you guys. Here, I'll put you back on.
Thank you.
Now I'm taking you off.
I just want to say, I don't know how much we actually talked about, but I feel like anyone who can read a graph can see that this adds up. But I also want to point out, if you are spending 8 days at a Disney park, you probably don't need Genie Plus.
Right, because you're spending, assuming you're going to hit each park twice, you really don't need Genie Plus.
You probably can get everything you want to do and then pay individual lightning lanes for the must-dos.
Yep.
So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
We have never had 8 days. I think the most we've had was 4.
No, we were there for 5 when we went down.
But we went to Universal.
Oh, right.
We had 4 days.
Where the Express Pass system is so much more reliable than the Genie Plus system. Not to knock Disney again. I swore I wasn't going to do it, but you made me do it. I blame you. Anyways.
I will accept that. I will accept that.
What I said while we were apparently muted due to my own misfortune
I recapped that.
Well, no, you didn't recap the bit that I said. Talk to your family, whoever you're bringing on your trip, whoever needs to be considered for Genie Plus. Ask everyone what their must-do rides are before you get there. It sounds ridiculous, and it probably will seem ridiculous to whoever you're talking to if they've not been to Disney in a while. But if 7 people don't want to do the Millennium Falcon at Hollywood Studios, and 1 person really, really does, and the other 7 also have no interest in Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller Coaster,
then they should not go to Hollywood Studios.
You know, that's neither here nor there.
Sorry.
But they definitely shouldn't pay for Genie Plus. And neither should you for them. You should definitely consider...
also find cooler friends.
I cannot with Katie today. You guys.
I don't know where this energy
out of
is.
control.
This is just like...
She is out of control. All right, you want to talk? Give us your final tips and tricks on Genie Plus.
My tip is, I mean, I guess wake up early and set low expectations, I guess, for what you want to accomplish. Like if you have, like, don't have like 5 must-do rides for that day and expect to get through them all. Limit it to 2 must-dos, and whatever else is gravy, and you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would also say my biggest tip, and it will never change. This will be consistent for those of you who are questioning the validity of the stream after all of our hullabaloo in the middle. This is consistent. This will forever be true. Do the homework.
Yeah.
Do it, your research in advance. Go and do some Googling.
If the only thing that is accurate that we learned from this live stream is to do your research.
Things change on a dime, and it seems like you don't get a whole lot of heads up when they do change, because we're talking about 2 weeks ago that the most recent changes were made, and you suddenly need to know everything about how this new stacking system works. We're not probably going to Disney World in the near term. We're planning to go back to Disneyland later in 2022. So we'll be able to test this all out firsthand and let you know what's changed. But it'll be another couple of months before then. And lots can change before then as well.
What they'll decide to do.
It could go up $20 a head between now and then.
They could add more AR filters.
You could have Pluto on your shoulder. And that would totally be worth $5 extra.
I'm sure the holiday filters are coming.
The holiday filters are coming. But those are our biggest tips and tricks, guys. And we've listed quite a few on the rest of the stream. So those I think are the biggest things. I'm gonna.
Oh, that's a good tip from Mandy. You should pull that up.
You do not need a park pass. Yep. That's true.
Yep, that is a good tip.
That's true. That's why I said Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom, I highly recommend Genie Plus. Epcot and Animal Kingdom, I do not, but I would look at individual lightning lanes for both of those. And we have quite a few Disneylanders in the chat who are interested.
Yeah. Our people know what's up.
People do know what's up. Oh, they're going in 2023. Still,
I read that as 2022.
It was 2022. He said, oh no, we're going into 2023.
That's okay.
It's okay, guys. All right, we did get a couple of questions from social. I did post on Instagram, which is why you should follow on Instagram. We do a lot of interaction there. So I will pull these up really quick, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Advantages and disadvantages over the previous Fastpass Plus system. We kind of hit on this. A lot of the system is the same. So if you're familiar with the Fastpass Plus system from the early days of Disney when it was all free, the disadvantage is that you're paying for it. The advantage is that the cooldown window exists where it didn't before. I think that's still accurate based on everything we've heard tonight. But if it's not,
I have no advantages to list.
Katie may be the slightest bit biased.
I mean, I guess the one advantage is maybe because people pay for it, maybe less people are using it.
The competition pool is smaller.
So
that is definitely
that's your advantage.
Disadvantages are monetary, I would say, is that not everyone can afford it now, because if you're going with we know people who have been to Disney with 20 to 30 people in a group. We've seen people 20 to 30 people try to get on a bus at Disney, so we know that large groups do travel together.
But they may not be on the same dime.
No, absolutely not.
But if you have your family of four or five, you're 2 or 3 or 4 kids.
But if you're totaling the expense report for the whole trip, it becomes very hefty if everyone goes in on Disney Plus. So that's a remarkable disadvantage of the Fastpass Plus system. But if you're used to Fastpass Plus, if you're traveling in a small party, we're always, for the most part, a party of 2. And we don't mind spending a little extra to maximize our day. So even though it is a grumble from Katie's side, I do usually book Genie Plus. And we do have a marvelous time despite all of her grumbling.
That's because I don't have to deal with it.
Yes. I don't die.
I did book. Oh, now I have so many bigger problems if you die.
True.
No, I'll just
that will be chief among
you. Who will book my Disney Plus lightning lane?
Standing at the tombstone. Does anyone know how this works?
Help.
You'll just have to go back and rewatch the live stream.
You just have to haunt me. That's all I ask.
This is a good one that we got. How does it compare to other Fastpass systems?
It stinks. Guys, I'm sorry. I don't know where this energy is coming from.
Not 2 hours ago, she was falling asleep on the couch.
So we had talked about this during our
Skip the
Lines live stream, that it was kind of an anomaly that Disney's was free for so long anyway. Mm-hmm. Which, until we went to lots of different places around the country, we didn't realize that it was an anomaly. For the most part, other parks have kind of like a flat rate, more expensive, that includes almost all of their rides. And then
for,
sometimes
like,
they have
another-
tiers that
yeah,
are that
20
include
bucks.
their fancy rides too. And usually there may be options that are one-time use for certain rides or unlimited. So usually it's more expensive, like, you know, it could be 50, 80. At Busch Gardens, it was $150 per person because the price fluctuates
On
depending
that day.
on the day and the season and whatnot. But the advantage of that is you can go to whatever ride you want whenever
No
you
time
want.
slots.
There's no time slots.
Time
There's no
slots are
pulling
the
out your
biggest
phone
problem.
to check. You just show up and you badge in, scan in, whatever you have to show, and you just go. So part of us thinks that even though there would probably be a big hullabaloo about this if Genie Plus were way more expensive than it is, then it might be better.
Well, here's why, and on that note, I'm about to be controversial, because Chad and Vanessa do make a good point. Cedar Fair has a sweet spot for price and unlimited rides, just enough to make you think, but not out of the world like Universal. Universal's Express Pass system. If you stay at a premier hotel, you get those Express Passes for free. If you pay buku bucks for the top tier of annual pass holder, you get unlimited Express Passes after 4 p.m. If you're going as a day guest, you are paying somewhere around like $150 to sometimes all the way up to $200 per person for Express Passes. That's in the unlimited tier. At like the one ride per day tier is like the $115. It's still astronomical compared to what you're paying for Genie
like
Plus.
Park admission.
I like that. I don't like paying that. I don't. Don't get me wrong. I don't like that money is coming out of my wallet, but I love that when I pay for it, there are so few other people paying for that it is basically, I mean, nothing for the most part is ever a walk-on at Universal, but with Express Pass and especially Express Pass Unlimited, you are doing a lot more walking than you are waiting. A lot, which is not the case at Disney because Genie Plus, it's so accessible at the $15 price point that it's just enough to make you go, ugh, but not enough to make you not buy it.
And the other thing, I think the biggest thing is because Disney's relies on you to be there, picking what you're doing next, playing with your phone. I mean, you know, if you're not technologically savvy or you don't have a smartphone or you're not great at using it, you know, other parks, you pay for it up front. They'll give you a wristband. They'll give you a card. They'll give you whatever. Sometimes it is on your phone, but you don't have to have a phone. They'll give you something that you can scan in. So it doesn't, I feel like it reduces stress to your trip instead of adding to it. I feel like with Genie Plus, you're paying more for more stress.
Once you've had a taste of the Universal Express Pass, it's really hard to go to Universal without the Express Pass. Because Universal's queues are just as interesting and fascinating as Disney's, and I think they do manage crowd capacity pretty well. But on a really hot day, when everyone is bum rushing, now I will say Chad and Vanessa make a good point as well that the top rides are not on the Universal Express Pass. That includes Velocicoaster and Hagrid's right now, not included. Those are the two newest rides. They've been new for a while, and they are peak popularity still to this day, and they probably always will be because they're both phenomenal. But at the moment, the single rider queue is your only option to skip the standard queue or early park entry. They're not included in the Express Pass. When they get stale, slightest bit, or when I think it's safe to say when Epic Universe opens up, the Express Passes will be dumbed down. Hagrid's and Velocicoaster may be added to the Express Pass system, but in the meantime, they're not included.
But the problem with that is, like, there's no line for, like, it's just single riders. So is it going to be just single riders and Express? Like, they'd have to build a new
They
queue line.
wouldn't have built those rides without a plan for how to integrate them into the Express Pass system, which dawned before Hagrid's was constructed. So I'm not worried about that. I don't know how it's going to work, but I know it's going to work. The thing that Chad and Vanessa are saying is that at Cedar Fair, they get to ride everything for one price.
Yeah. No, I think we have not had, Honestly, did we even buy? We didn't even buy Skip the Lines from we were at. We have probably the least experience with Cedar Fair parks, I would say. And Chad and Vanessa
We did actually for King's
are
Dominion, but not for Dorney.
Yeah, but they're a great resource for the Cedar Fair parks. So check out their vlogs.
Definitely. Everyone who's in the comments, check out their vlogs.
Yeah. So, but if they are telling us that of all the places, like that one has the best bang for buck, then I would believe them.
I disagree. Well, hold up. I disagree with this, that they should have a paper ride for Velocicoaster and Hagrid's, because that would make them just as bad as Disney. I think the problem with Genie Plus is that it doesn't cover everything. If you were paying $15 for everything, I get that would be ridiculous. Lines would explode at the popular attractions, and they would be virtually, you wouldn't even need Genie Plus to walk on the lower tier attractions. But if the Genie Plus system was universal, and I mean like in the sense of being all encompassing, not in the sense of being the Universal Park, but if it had a similar price point to the Universal Parks, and you could pay $150 per person to get on everything all day, no timestamps, as many times as you wanted, except for ride A, B, and C, it would be a truly effective system. I agree with Jay. Positive to Universal's passes in Premier Hotel. The high price discourages others and makes it a true fast pass. The lines for Express Pass at Universal are short. Always. So, yes, I do think they will add them to the top rides at Universal. Like I say, I think when Epic Universe opens, first of all, when Epic Universe opens, we're going to spend a ton of money. Just so much. We're not even probably going to be able to afford Express Passes ourselves, because we are probably going to spend a whole week at Universal just hitting up every single attraction that we can get our hands on. We're so excited for Epic Universe. But I think when Epic Universe becomes the shiny new park full of new attractions, there will be a lot of attractions at Epic Universe that aren't included in Express Pass, and there will be many more Express Passes available at Islands of Adventure and Studios. That is my forecast. I don't know anything. I'm not tied in.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just what I've seen based on other things. We've already kind of touched on biggest pros and cons throughout the entire thing, so I don't even think we need to spend any more time on the cons.
Tim's just afraid I'm going to say more
pros.
things.
Stifle. Head inside shirt. Head inside shirt.
I can't make
No
it.
talking for you.
Neck is too big.
This is Genie Plus, guys. It's not a perfect system, and it was never
Very
done.
controversial.
It's very controversial. It is.
It causes family discord.
I have said this in other comments on other streams. There's been a lot of vlogs talking about Genie Plus, using it for the first time. I think there is an agreement throughout the community that has used Genie Plus in the parks, that now that it's there and it is what it is, it's worth going in on it to have a more efficient park day. We all see it as a necessary evil now with the way things are. There will forever be grumbles about the way things used to be versus the way things are now, and that's totally justified. Don't get me wrong. My grumble is that the price point is too low and the fast passes don't work as fast as they could. But given that things are the way they are, at least for now, I think the Genie Plus is a functional enough system to save you a lot of time when you're going to certain
because
parks.
it's your only option.
Because it's not your only option. You can wait in the standard queues.
No, it's your only option
to skip the lines.
Unless you want to pay for a VIP tour, then I think you get all the fast passes you
That's
want.
a whole different live stream.
We've never done that. We
That's
have no
a
experience
whole
on that.
different live stream. That's like
That-
$1,000.
That is like the most expensive.
The most expensive
Fast
thing you can do at
pass
Disney, short of
thing.
having a Disney wedding. And with the Disney wedding, you do not get fast passes.
No.
All right, guys, we do want to shout out our creators, as we often do. Cami from Key to Disney. It's been a while since we've gone and checked in on her content, but I've seen that she's been doing some incredible things and has been very active. We all love her. So check out Key to Disney on YouTube and Instagram. I have shouted out Magical by Sarah before. When I started following her on Instagram, she was very supportive of her content community and the other creators who were interacting with her. And she really gives off this amazing vibe of like togetherness and supporting each other. And we really appreciate that everything she's done to share our content out. But I also really wanted to add her again to this creator spotlight because she's just started doing some vlogs from her trips abroad. She's based in the UK, but she's been traveling to Disneyland Paris. She just got back from a Vegas trip, and her vlogs are really, truly fun to watch. So I did want to give her another shout out. If you haven't been following or aren't subscribed to Magical by Sarah, check her out on YouTube as well as on Instagram. There's some really cool stuff coming from her channel. And No BS Eateries, mostly focused on foodie stuff, has been to Hershey Park, has been to Disney, a lot of stuff that overlaps with our area of the world, but they're much more focused on food than we're ever going to be because we're not good at eating. So check out their YouTube channel and their Instagram account. They've got some amazing
I think I'm
content.
very good at eating, sir.
Well,
I'm just not good at. I'm not good at letting the camera eat first.
yeah, that right there, that.
I want my food.
Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Our next installment, as it were, is going to be, speaking of Hershey Park, darting back to Hershey Park and talking again about roller coasters because we like to mix it up a little bit. Can't stick with Disney 100% of the time. We've been on all of Hershey Park's 14 actual coasters. Does not include the 15th coaster, quote unquote, a water coaster, because that's not a roller coaster. But we're going to be ranking all of the Hershey Park roller coasters we've been on. Our lists are not going to be identical.
No,
We're going to have some fights. You think tonight was rough? Wait till next time. It's going to be so much rougher. There might be divorce papers drawn up at the end of that next one.
How do you know they're not tonight? No.
Oh, no.
You did this, Genie Plus.
Anyway. And on that note.
So if you've been to Hershey Park, bring your coaster rankings.
Definitely. Yeah, we want to have conversations with all of you about why you love the coasters you do and why you don't. Hopefully this live stream has been at least somewhat helpful. I know
if not,
information
maybe it's been entertaining.
It's definitely been entertaining, I'm sure. But hopefully, I know the information is changing constantly. The big takeaway is do your homework. If this live stream has given you any information at all, we will count that as a win. If not, at least you've learned that things are constantly changing with Genie Plus.
Do
and
your
you should
research.
do a little bit of research before you go on your next Disney trip. So we're going to go ahead and end it here because we're a little bit over, but thank you guys so much for joining. And I think we've kept a fairly steady audience all along.
Jay and Sam for being impromptu guests.
Thank you, Theme Park Foodies, for sticking it out with us and being available to tag in when we needed help.
Hey, Sassy Katie is the best.
I disagree.
See if people like it.
That's because you guys get to turn off Sassy Katie when you're done there.
Don't put it. What is it? Don't hide me under a bushel.
No.
I'm gonna let it shine.
All right, that's enough of this. Good night, everyone. We love you. I'm Tim.
I'm Sassy.
And every day is a new adventure.